This week on the government and you. First of all, when we are saying we have recycled leaders, we have old people, we are tired of them, we try to say, okay, now, youth, wake up, do something, come and contest for positions, come and make your voices heard. But one challenge I had with this episode is that I didn't even get a youth to come out and say, I want to talk about this. Hello and a very warm welcome to you. This is the government and you, where we get to talk about government functions and of course we talk about your corresponding obligations as a citizen, civic obligations. So this is our civic class and I am Itohan Olomo Agbodo. After this quick break, we'll be telling you what we'll be discussing this week. Don't go away. You're welcome back. Well, if you just joined us, this is the government and you. And this week, we're going to be looking at youth involvement in politics. We've been talking about how we have leaders that are generally being recycled. What is your own opinion about it? What are we going to do about it as a nation? How can we get our people, the younger people, to be involved in politics? But as usual, we'll go to the street to find out what Nigerians are saying about this issue.
The youths, like they say, are the leaders of tomorrow, and it matters a lot if they get involved. Now, this is what I mean. It's beyond the social media noise, the campaign. The youth needs to get involved in grassroots politics, knowing who makes policies and who we should channel our point of views to. The local government chairman, the House of Representatives, becoming a party member, letting our voices being heard from the grassroots before thinking of the up. And it will make a whole lot of difference because take a look at the NSAS issues. So the youths really heard their view and it made an impact, and we should take it up from there.
I think presently the first step we need to do is making sure you vote in competent people. People who are after solving problems. When it comes to majority, the masses, the poor ones. So we need to vote in competent people.
You're welcome back. Well, Nigerians are tired of the crop of politicians that they see and they want a change, but it is not enough to actually advocate for a change. You have to be part of that change that you want to see, and that is why we are saying today you have to do something. And of course we have a youth in the house today. He is a legal practitioner, he's a human rights advocate, and of course he also has some political ambition. But for now we are just going to introduce him as Barrister Ayo Ademiluyi.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome to the show.
It's a great pleasure to be here.
First of all, when we are saying we have recycled leaders, we have old people, we are tired of them, we try to say, okay, now, youth, wake up, do something, come and contest for positions, come and make your voices heard. But one challenge I had with this episode is that I didn't even get a youth to come out and say, I want to talk about this. So what can we do? Because that is the first point.
Very well. You see, I think the background to that political apathy, because if you categorize it properly, it is an apathy, is the fact that, let's say since 1999, that democracy has come into play in Nigeria. We have seen more and more of those who go into politics disappoint all the wishes of the majority of Nigerians. Now, according to statistics, Nigeria has one of the highest youth population in the world after India. In fact, around 67% of Nigerians are young people. Now, if you look at that huge demographic, you begin to ask yourself, what role have they been playing? Now, you now put that side by side with the unemployment rate, which is also around 87%, one of the biggest unemployment gaps in the world. We're even told that the number of unemployed young people in Nigeria is almost as equal as the population of a country like Sweden. So we have that kind of huge demographic. Now, between 1999 and 2019, it was like, what role is the youth playing? The narrative that was being sold to all of us was that the young people generation, they are lazy, they are unserious, they are laid back, they don't even have any prospects. In fact, some of the older generations were saying their generation is better and all that. But come 2020, there was a turning point in a way in history. The millennials of Nigeria, and when we refer to millennials, we refer to those who are born from the late 80s down to the mid-90s. Those who did not see, who are just being born at the time democracy was evolving. You know, those who were born prior to democracy, and then they were evolving at that point in time. So they have seen 20 good years between 1999 and 2019 of misgovernance. So in 2020, we saw an inevitable explosion on the streets of Nigeria, a youth movement breaking out under the signboard of NSAS. NSAS was just a signpost of that youth indignation and anger. But beneath that slogan is the yearning of the young people for better governance, for better future, and everything that comes with it. So I wouldn't agree with you that they are pathetic. But I think what is now missing is how to link their anger to an advocacy. Now, we believe that elections in themselves, because that's our focus, we're looking at youth participation in elections, in politics.
Governance generally.
Young people cannot shy away, who have marched on the streets, who have held placards, who have shouted slogans, cannot shy away from politics. We call it the parliamentary road to revolution. Because the ideas rule the world. And politics are based on ideas. So if you have an agitation, if you have an idea, and you cannot debate it out with the rank and file of the people, because the young people themselves just represent a layer. You have the unemployed people, you still have the people, informal working people. When we talk about, when people mention hoodlums in this country, they will refer to, we don't refer them to them as hoodlums. We call them informal workers.
Informal workers?
Yes, they are informal workers. It's not until we wear suit and tie like a lawyer like myself that you are working. The idea that, they shot at us on 20th October, that's the end. No. We must now take the narrative further. And that is what some of us have started doing. One of the things we have started doing is to kickstart a political front after the NSAS. We call it the Convergence for Working People's Political Alternative, in which we are trying to engage the political space. And the first thing is that you need to get your permanent voters card.
Very well, very well.
And then we need to get into the parties. Now that comes to how our parties run in this country. I don't know that.
Before we get into how parties are run, because we know that in Nigeria we have two major parties, and that has been like the major challenge for most youths. In right up, you see them saying they can't really get into the rank and file of these two major parties because they need godfathers, which is a topic for another day. We are looking at this issue of re-strategizing. For instance, in 2016, there was this movement, Not Too Young to Run.
Exactly.
Not Too Young to Run started. There was no record of violence. We know that there are, of course, cases where the police might get overboard, want to carry out, want to act beyond their powers and try to stifle public opinion and all that, which is against the law and which we don't support in any way. But we're saying at the end of the day, that movement saw a change in the age qualifications for political offices. In 2018, we had a Not Too Young to Run bill passed into law, and we saw that the age brackets for political offices were reduced.
Exactly.
We had elections in 2019. How many of us came out to say, I want to vie for election? How many of us even got a permanent voter's card?
That's a very good observation. You see, the Not Too Young to Run movement was a movement that some of us welcome in every way. If you look at it, the Not Too Young to Run movement was trying to say that the age qualification to run for some offices in Nigeria should be reduced. So you see the office of the governor reduced to 30 years, the senator to 35 years, the House of Reps to 30 years. That's a welcome development, for instance. Now, we should also, in 2019, that led to a spur of some youth parties and youth candidates. We saw Omoyele Sowore of the African National Congress. You saw Fela Durotoye. You saw some, in fact, at the time they have a kind of coalition.
Coalition, yes.
But the difference between 2019 and 2023 is the fact that between 2019, that was the involvement of young politicians in politics was seen as a symbolic one. Of course, they were able to attract some votes, attract some people, but the young people they were trying to govern us at that time were not even yet politicized. The NSAS movement has done a lot of work for us in politicizing that young layer. According to INEC, the continuous voter registration that is going on now, the highest number of people who have subscribed thus far, at least 80% are young people from 18 years old and above. That's a good sign.
That's a good sign. But we'll talk about this more. We'll talk about this more. We need to go on a quick break because this is a very interesting development that we would want to focus on now that we are getting
close to 2023 elections.
Very close. Yeah. So after this break, we'll continue this discussion on youth in politics and how to increase the participation of young persons in Nigeria's governance. Stay with us. You're welcome back, where we're still talking about young persons in politics and how to increase the participation of these young persons. You and I, we have to leave the confines of our homes. We have to leave our comfort zones, get registered, get our permanent voters cards, and actually contribute to the governance of Nigeria. And I have a young person in the house, a legal practitioner and a politician. I must call you a politician. A revolutionary politician, not just any other politician. Well, you've been making some very interesting remarks, and you mentioned now that INEC has remarked about the increase in registration of youth involvement in the voter registration process. So this is a step in the right direction.
Yes, we welcome it in every direction because it shows that the message is getting home. A lot of our young colleagues are also updating their voters cards with INEC, which is very important. But one other major important thing is, how do you get on the ballot as a candidate? Now, in Nigeria, there's no independent candidacy by virtue of the Constitution. The Constitution does not provide for independent candidacy. You have to belong to a party. A party have to get registered by at least having a secretariat in Abuja and having at least 2/3 of its national executive members from 23 states or 24 states of the federation.
Yes.
That's one. Now, two, the electoral bill, which was before National Assembly. The electoral bill, we know it was rejected by President Buhari, who said he does not subscribe to direct primaries and all that. Now, those provisions have been removed. One major positive aspect of that bill is the question of electronic transmission of results. In fact, there is the February 12th FCT area council elections, in which some of us want to participate. Our convergence want to play a role in that elections. And President Buhari now does not have any excuse. The two houses of the National Assembly have already harmonized the bill. They have removed all the provisions he said they should remove. There's no excuse for him anymore than to sign the bill. Does not mean that we subscribe 100% to all the provisions or the amendments, but we think that electronic transmission of results will be a major milestone in terms of electoral integrity in this country. That's two. Three is the fact that now when you get into the parties, what kind of parties do we need to join or do we need to form? As far as many Nigerians are concerned, they are tired of the two main establishment parties. So that's why we are seeing a lot of, in fact, according to INEC, they have 100 applications already. Some of us who are lawyers, we are working for clients who are also applying to INEC and all that. Now, we need a fundamental constitutional amendment. And wonderful enough, National Assembly is undergoing constitutional amendments presently. We need a fundamental constitutional amendment, especially Section 222 of the Constitution. There are all kinds of very rigorous conditions for the form a party. We need to move forward in this country. In Scotland, if you are 18, you can stand for election.
But based on let me bring the issue. No, the issue you talked about, you raised an issue that forming a political parties. Gani Fawehinmi, our foremost human rights activist of blessed memory, mentioned the fact that it shouldn't be so rigorous. But looking at the last elections, the last general elections, we're hearing some parties that we've not even heard anything about. We're hearing results.
You don't need to hear about them.
Just hold on. AAA, for instance, party, 0 votes. ABC political party, 10 votes.
Party is not
where I'm trying to go to is this. Instead of us trying to create more of these parties that would not be recognized or that our constitution, for now, because this is the constitution that we have, pending when we have the amendment, why don't we come together, like you talked about the municipal parties, which is a very laudable initiative.
Exactly.
The youth can come together and say, oh, I am from Ikeja, I am from Alausa, I'm from Alimosho, from wherever. Just come together and say, we are going to support each other and form a party. You have a sister in Edo State. I have a mother in Delta State. I have someone else in Kaduna. Coming together like that, with that divergent views, you already have tentacles already in
you need to
places.
get the picture clearly.
Yes.
Based on the law. Now, when you say parties are
national outlook.
A national outlook. Now, when you get to INEC will tell you to go and pay 1 million naira.
That's
now,
another issue that we're going to address.
Now we are talking about the issue of
national outlook,
the ballot paper, the national outlook, that we have so many parties on the ballot paper that we have not had. I want to first of all say that parties are not formed to win elections. Let me shock you. The African National Congress is a sitting party in South Africa existed for more than 100 years before it even contested an election in 1994 and won. And everybody knew about the ANC. Now, in a place called Quebec, which is a French colony in Canada, they have a party they call the Quebec Independence Party that has been existing for 300 years, agitating for just one thing, for the independence of Quebec. It has never contested the election.
So those parties
now in Nigeria, if we are saying we don't want to have a long ballot paper, a political party does not need to contest all the elections. So if we say we have a political party, I'm just trying to fit into what you are saying.
Fine.
If I say I am Ayademiluyi party, I just want to run in Ikeja alone. In fact, I want to just run for councillorship.
You should be allowed.
No, up to the mother of Fela, that's Mrs. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti. She contested the councillorship of Abeokuta in year 1948. You know what they did? As far back at that time, that's even under colonial rule. All you just need to do to run in an election is to go and pay electoral deposits. And they took that from the British. In Britain, I can wake up to say I want to run for an office. All I just need to go is to go to my nearest local government. In fact, you don't need an INEC. If we advance our constitutional democracy so much, you don't need an INEC that will be monitoring you from like monitoring spirits. What you just need to do is that you go to the local government. You pay. There will be an electoral office. You have local governments in 774 local governments in Nigeria. You pay an electoral deposit. I want to run for this social office and all that. You know what has really bastardized our political system, electoral system, is that the bogus pay the political office holders collect in this country is far higher than most political, even far higher than the president of the United States. So we need, first of all, to demonetize the political offices. All you need to do if you want to be you are a senator or something that you should not work.
Yes.
Or something that you should not, if you are a doctor and you are a senator, something you should not.
Some other jurisdictions
consult,
are practicing that. Yes.
We need a part-time legislature, especially the National Assembly. A person like myself, I would like to run for. I'm going to be running for the House of Reps. I would like to say I'm going to take the salary of an average civil servant. The rest of the bogus pay should be donated to my constituency, because the reality is that we need the monetization of the electoral space. That is why people now, if they want to contest elections, as if they want to enter the kingdom of heaven. I know Jesus has finished his. Our Lord Jesus Christ said, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and violence taketh it by force. So you now see all sorts of violence, you see all sorts of rigging, manipulation to enter into the kingdom of heaven on earth through the ballot paper, through the ballot box.
Do you know what? You've made some very fantastic points.
Yes.
Even though a lot of people still believe that forming a political party, they tend to agree with INEC, and of course it's the reality that we have at the moment, like I mentioned earlier. It is a very laudable move to say, I want to form a political party. It is my right. After all, if I can get 2 or 3 people, I have freedom of association, freedom in my own society. I should be free enough. But when I'm looking at the viability, we're trying to say, how can we now get more people on board without us bothering with the rigors of trying to form parties that at the end of the day will not go.
No, I was trying to explain the
parties are not pressure groups.
No, you know, they not registered so many parties.
About 73 of these political parties.
One of the parties I belong to is also deregistered. Now, the thing is that we need independent candidacy in the constitution.
Exactly.
What that means is that, for instance, I can just say, I don't need to even bother about presidency. So you see, many of those young youth parties that were formed in 2019, all of them are running for presidency. Being a president of the country does not mean that the road in Ikeja, all the roads in Ikeja will be smooth. And we have seen that now. You cannot, when it's not a spirit. In fact, being a senator does not mean all your roads in the Senate, you cannot do any wonder. The only impact you can make is that, okay, why can't you start from below? In fact, I would prefer to start from local government.
That's what I was going to say. Okay. So now make recommendations for us. Because for instance,
number one, for all young people, we need to get our PVC. It's very, very important.
Very important.
If you have not gotten your PVC, go and get your PVC. It's so crucial. Elections are coming. You can't just be voters, mere voters, queuing in long queues. All that is all. We also need young people to be on the ballot box. But with which ideas? The ideas must not be the same old ideas, because if you have a young person we have a lot of young people who are also in power and they are doing the same things that we are complaining of. We need young people with the correct ideas to run for office. Then 2 is that we need a fundamental constitutional amendment to say that we should have independent candidacy and our democracy deserves it. We need relaxation of the rules of forming a political party. We don't need parties to have offices in all the local governments of Nigeria. We need politics to be restricted to where people are based and all that. Then 3rd is the fact that we need to take money out of our politics, and that is possible. Without Nigeria is complaining of the fact that they want to remove subsidy and all that. If you cut the pay of the National Assembly members into 2, not the National Assembly members, the governors, the legislators in the House of Assembly, the House of Rep members, the presidency, there's enough money in this country. Nigeria generates $18 trillion per year. That $18 trillion can take 85% of Nigerians out of poverty. Nigeria does not deserve to be a poor country. Nigeria is one of the biggest, sweetest countries in the world. We are an all-rich country. We should not have any business with poverty.
We shouldn't have any business with poverty. I like the way you put it, and I'm going to wrap up on that note and say a very big thank you to you. Thank you so much.
We look forward for more discussion because we are still going to 2023, and the road is still it's long.
It's long, but not so long. If we have people like you telling everybody, come out, register, get your PVCs, be on the ballot, join a party. Don't
join a progressive party. A people party, because there are some progressive parties that are not progressive.
Okay.
Again,
you know, I have this very fantastic guest that if I leave to keep talking, it's just going to keep talking. Okay, that's the much we can take this week on the show. We had a very interesting time talking with Barrister Ayo Ademiliyu, and he is actually a youth advocate. He's also interested in politics, as you have heard him speak. I know you know he's interested in politics. And well, he has said, get your PVCs. He has talked about constitution amendments. He's also talked about the fact that we should have independent candidacy. And you know, a lot of politicians, a lot of political scientists, advocates and all that, when talking about this independent candidacy, where one person can come out and say, I'm not going to contest under any party, like the third party situation in the US. Okay, so it's been a very interesting discussion, and we must say thank you so much for being here.
It's a great pleasure to be here. I look forward to more time.
So we are going to take money out of our politics, but we need you to do it. We need you not to accept those kickbacks. We need you not to accept those palliatives that come during electioneering period. You have to stick to what you believe in. Nigeria can only be built by Nigerians. Well, at this time, I would also tell you that if you've not given your life to Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. He is the only answer to whatever is going on in the world at the moment. You have to give your life to Jesus Christ. I love you. God bless you.